Okay, so Amy, we are so proud of you. I know, like, all your classmates, your family. I mean, the island is proud of your initiative and what you're doing. And the topic you're attempting to undertake, or actually you're making like headway on already, is pretty substantial. I mean, there have been organizations that have been set up for healthcare disparities and everything like that. So, what led you to want to choose disparity in the quality of healthcare for people?
Yeah, so I think since sixth grade, I participated in a lot of medical missions to the outer islands. Specifically, I would visit Chuuk every year or two, and since then, I really saw the need for physicians to go to the outer islands and also serve there. And specifically, I think in one of the medical missions, so I was there to teach English and math to the students. And I walked out, after teaching the students, and I saw a mom carrying her daughter at about age of 2 or 3, and the girl's eye was actually out of her eye socket, and with like a mixture of hand motion and English, I asked her how did this happen, and she answered in 2 words, no doctor. And that really inspired me to really reach out to the outer islands and really serve as a physician, and my dream of becoming an ophthalmologist and to come back to the island really pushed me to go to undergrad and also continue with ophthalmology research, and now I'll be heading off to med school to pursue the dream.
Okay, and you're not just going to any med school. Which med school are you going to?
Yes, I'll be going to Stanford Medical School.
Oh, go Cardinal.
Go Cardinal, yes.
So you've known from a very young age that you wanted to pursue the endeavor, and anybody who becomes a doctor isn't just like, I'll do this for a few years and then like I'll run a store afterwards. You become a doctor, that's a lifelong pursuit, and you've known about this, that you wanted to save lives and fight disease.
Yeah, I think since a very young age, when we would write, occupation, like your dream occupation, I would always write a doctor. I didn't know that I wanted to be an ophthalmologist specifically, and I think my undergrad and grad experiences really solidified my passion to become an ophthalmologist. And also, I interned with Dr. Peter Lombard during COVID while I was back on island.
He's a great person to learn from.
Yes, yeah. Yes. And he would tell me stories about, the missions that he does for Saipan, for example, and that really inspired me to come back to the island. And I think he's one of the few doctors who did come back to the island, and he's serving so many people and on island. So he is truly an inspiration and a great mentor to work with.
Mm-hmm. Now, in your specialization, what about the eyes is so intriguing to you, or is a big professional challenge to you, or just that you want to make big breakthroughs and everything? Because there's the brain, the heart, the spine, there's surgery and everything. There's like 1,000 different fields of study you could get into. What about the eyes really draws you to it?
I think there's so many parts to it. First is, I think going on medical missions, I learned that cataract, for example, is a very quick procedure, but with it you can help like hundreds of people with one trip, and that's what I really envision. And also, I think seeing Dr. Ng, for example, from Hawaii, a retina specialist, coming back to Guam every 2 or 3 months and helping so many people also inspired me to be a doctor who may be based off in California, but really comes back to my home island to serve. And I think the part that really draws me about ophthalmology is that it's really heavily reliant on, technology, and nowadays really on artificial intelligence. And I think working with biotechs and my experience at Stanford really helped me realize that ophthalmology is such a fast-paced and changing field that I can really keep doing research and growing there.
Yeah, like a lot of the afflictions that face the eyes maybe like 30, 40 years ago, either today would not be possible, and a patient would just have to live with it, or you would have to go through surgery that was admittedly pretty brutal.
Right, and specifically, I think I have a passion that, yes, we always talk about bringing, physician shortage on island, but I think the other I guess a part that we can change is bringing in that high tech things like that to the island. And I think, for example, right, I think AI is really helpful in, predicting patient outcome. For example, if it's like things like age-related macular degeneration, we can kind of use AI to see how is this patient going to react to anti-VEGF or things like that. And I think there's so many ways that technology and healthcare can come together, but perhaps currently on Guam, maybe we may not have the infrastructure or things like that for the growth of biotech. And I hope to be a physician that can learn more during my medical school a journey at Stanford and bring that technology back. And not only me doing the using AI or whatnot, but I want to be a physician that can also teach the the community, and also maybe if there's physicians who would love to learn about it, I would love to keep coming back and I think medicine is not a individual or like a competition. It needs to be a collaborative effort.
Are you part of the Chalan Amti organization, or have you been able to talk to those kids? Fantastic group.
Yes. Actually, I joined like a week or two ago. I think one of the she's like a Jaja at Harvard. She reached out asking if I'd be interested, and my answer was, of course I would be. And so I'm excited to see what I can do as part of the group. I guess I'm like one of the newer members of.
They are a fantastic resource network. They're very, very supportive, and of course, they want to make the transition into med school, taking the boards, taking the MCAT,
Right. I'm very excited with what I can do, but also I think, I went to St. John's for high school, and the 2 summers I participated in the home program, which is where they pair you up with a physician on island, and you get exposure and you learn from the doctors there. And I think then I worked at a dental clinic, but even then I realized I love talking to patients, and I love learning about what is how I can help them, not only in terms of their teeth or whatnot, but if they're going through something in their lives. I think that's where I learned where empathy is so important for physicians, and I really do thank the home program for giving me such an opportunity. And I think my passion to become a doctor really started from the home program too.
Okay, well, Amy, I also want to talk before we wrap about this natural compassion that you were blessed with and everything, because to Stanford and to Guampedia, you've also submitted some research before about your heritage and about the experience of the Korean-Guamanian. Yeah, so tell me about that and what that process was like to really dive into that, and what did you learn?
Yeah, so I think that project actually started back in high school in a history class where they said, it's a requirement to participate in what is known as the National History Day. And being myself, I was like, I don't know where to begin, because I always thought of myself as a math or a science student as opposed to a history student. But I think my time at St. John's really, they always help all students to become a well-rounded and a holistic in a holistic way. And I think I was flipping through history books of Guam, like Destiny's Landfall by Robert Rogers, for example, and I realized that the Asian voices were not really there. There were some about the Asian voices weren't there, and specifically, I read nothing about Koreans, and I was like, "Where's my story? Where I know all these, I know these first generation immigrants at my church, for example, but where's their story?" And I think that really inspired me to fill that gap, and so I asked different. I was lucky to interview one of the pioneers that came, one of the 3 immigrants to first come to Guam, and I think I wrote that up in a story, and that was for the National History Day. And then when I went to Stanford for my undergrad, I also wanted to continue that because they have such a strong Asian American program, so I decided to double major in biology and East Asian studies to further contribute to the history of Guam. And so I kept working on that, and then by my senior year, I worked with Professor Daphne Zur at Stanford, and I was able to make a publication in Guampedia about the Koreans on Guam.
Very nice. Well, Amy, it's abundantly clear that you have a calling, and you, like you said, empathy is something that is a gift of yours and everything like that. You're able to connect with people. You're able to understand, and obviously you want to help and give back and everything. So we have absolutely every confidence in the world that you're going to be a very, very good success as a physician, and we
Thank you.
very much look forward to when you return and start serving the island.
Thank you.
Okay.